It's the document that no other channel has. Republic exposes the details of the DGCA investigation on Air India. Over 50 lapses reported in the month of July. Biggest ever global digital arrest racket busted in Cambodia. Operation carried out based on Indian intelligence inputs. Four Al-Qaeda operatives in Gujarat ATS custody. Investigation reveals disturbing pattern of promoting jihad ideology online. Supreme Court stays Bombay High Court judgment on acquittal of 12 accused persons in connection with the 2006 Mumbai train blast. No re-arrest to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent months, Air India has faced intense scrutiny following a series of safety lapses and a catastrophic crash that has shaken public confidence. The tragic 12th of June crash of flight AI-171, a Boeing 7878 Dreamliner in Ahmedabad, has cast a harsh spotlight on the airline's operations, maintenance, practices and regulatory compliance. The airline's troubles extend beyond the Ahmedabad tragedy. India's aviation regulator, the DGCA, has issued multiple warnings to Air India for safety violations in the past 6 months, including show cause notices for issues ranging from overdue maintenance check to crew scheduling failures. Tonight, we bring to you a mega exclusive, a sensational document that I'm holding that puts the spotlights on not just one or two, but a staggering amount of oversights. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by taking you through each of the details, the lapses that have been highlighted by the DGCA following an inspection at the Air India office. Starting with the big breaking news now coming in, aviation watchdog DGCA has put Air India in the dock with a staggering 50 safety and compliance violations, warning that passenger safety is at serious risk. The aviation regulator has issued multiple show cause notices, demanding the airline provide documentary evidence of corrective measures within days, following a series of lapses that include crew scheduling failures, overdue maintenance checks, and inadequate training protocols. Sources revealed DGCA's patience is now wearing thin, with threats of severe penalties, including potential license suspension if Air India fails to address these systemic issues promptly. Now, I'm going to take you through each of the details that have been flagged off in the DGCA audit report. I just want to quickly get our cameras on this report that I'm holding right now. I'm going to take you through each of the details, which basically looks into three parts. On your screens right now, I'm going to show you first this document that I'm holding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the DGCA audit report. The DGCA team, led by Captain Adhiraj Yadav, who was part of the meeting, as well as name of the auditors. This particular report that you see flags off multiple failures and non-compliance on the part of the airline. Let me just quickly take you through each of them. Number one, with regards to the training manuals itself, Air India has also issued a response that I'm going to put out in a short while from now, but let me just quickly show you through the help of each of the graphics that we have put out. Critical breaches that have been seen. The report basically reveals that ultra long haul flights were operated with inadequate cabin crew, while pilots flew despite invalid simulator checks. Shockingly, flight duty time limits were exceeded by over 2 hours on long-haul routes. Crucial simulator training was conducted on unqualified simulators, raising some serious questions about the regulatory compliance and passenger safety. We have shown you 4 lapses in terms of the critical breaches by Air India. On your screens right now, I'm going to just quickly take you through once again these 4 lapses under the critical breaches by Air India. Lapse number 1, ultra-long flights were basically flown with inadequate crew members. Number 2, pilots were basically operating after invalid simulator checks, which essentially takes away some of the training that they would have got. Lapse number 3, flight duty time has been exceeded by 2 hours, especially in the ultra-long flights. Unqualified simulators for training. Now, let's take a look at what are the other systemic gaps that this DGCA audit basically refers to. The report basically points to a complete lack of defined reporting lines, leading to accountability breakdowns across departments. Additionally, crew were rostered without mandatory rest or weekly offs, violating flight safety norms. The audit also found the use of outdated training manuals and incomplete or mismatched pilot documentation, exposing glaring gaps in oversight training and regulatory compliance. So a quick summary of what we know, the systemic gaps that have been highlighted in this. Can we go back to lapse number 1? That is no defined reporting lines in Air India, which basically says that there is a DGCA mandate which has not been followed. Lapse number 2, crew scheduled without improper rest or a weekly off. Now that's quite a cause of concern. Lapse number 3, outdated training manuals that have been used by the airline. Lapse number 4, incomplete and mismatched pilot documentation. These are the systemic gaps that have been highlighted. Let's now take you through the other. The training gaps, which is essentially important, ladies and gentlemen, within Air India. DGCA audit basically says that there have been shocking training deficiencies within Air India, posing serious safety concerns. The audit found incomplete recurrent training for B777 and B787 pilots, lack of low visibility operational approval for A350 aircraft. Alarmingly, many cabin crew were unaware of the essential safety regulations, while training centers and warning cards lacked proper regulatory approvals. Not just that, the airline was also found non-compliant with mandatory search and rescue documentation, highlighting deep-rooted lapses in training and preparedness. Let me try and summarize this for you. There are 5 lapses that have come in. First is the training with regards to B77 and B787 pilots. Incomplete recurrent training. Lapse number 2, they're saying there is low visibility approval for the 350 aircraft. Now that becomes extremely difficult, especially in some certain situations. Lapse number 3, cabin crew unaware of the key safety regulations. Now there has been a check that has been done by the DGCA, and it turns out not all cabin crew were aware of certain regulatory norms. Lapse number 4, warning cards and training centers lacking regulatory approvals. Now this is lapse number 4. Lapse number 5 is the non-compliance with search and rescue documentation mandates. So rescue and search and rescue operations that are basically carried out, there are certain documentation which mandates that there is no compliance with regards to these lapses. Now, on your screens is the DGCA document that Republic has exclusively accessed, which highlights the extent to which Air India, as the DGCA claims, was compromising passenger safety. Now, let's take you through each of these. These are sensational exposure of lapses that you are seeing on your screens. B787 pilots grounded after due check, invalid as simulator was not conducted as per regulatory terms. Now, however, few pilots have flown after this lapse without seeking any approval. So that's another aspect that has been raised. Landing data has not been recorded as far as the computerized flight plans are concerned. Tech logs display fuel in both kilograms and liter to prevent confusion. Operator to provide fuel receipt in kilograms so that the cross-check by the pilot. Let's just take you through. No chief pilots assigned for A320 and A350 fleet. There are no designated chief pilots for the A320 and 350. This results in a lack of accountability and effective monitoring of the flight operations of these aircraft types. Now, it doesn't end there. DGCA basically goes on with more responses after this detailed study that has been done, analysis that has been done. On your screens, we're going to stay with this. Ambiguity in operational control responsibilities, responsibility for operational control. It turns out they've put out full details of why they believe that this too has not been followed or complied. Let's just take you through some more details now coming. I'm going to come back to the audit report that has been accessed, but it seems that finally Air India has also now responded. Air India has responded to the multiple questions that were sent out by Republic TV, and this is what the airline has to say. Air India responds by saying all airlines undergo regular audits to test and continuously strengthen processes. Air India's annual DGCA audit took place in July, during which it was fully transparent with auditors in the spirit of such continuous improvement. We acknowledge the receipt of the arising report and are in the process of reviewing the findings therein and will submit our response to the regulator within the stipulated time frame. Air India remains fully committed to ensuring the safety of its passengers and staff. Now, this is what Air India has to say, saying that it is not just us. All airlines are undergoing regular audits. Now, the question that we are essentially asking, and we had written to Air India CEO, Mr. Campbell Wilson, and our pointed questions essentially arise serious safety and compliance deficiencies within Air India's operations, training, as well as organizational structure. The reality is this, ladies and gentlemen, the DGCA in its audit that they have carried out, they are saying there are 50, not one, there are 50 lapses that have been identified. If we can go across to Harsha, who is getting us the latest details. If we have Harsha, we'll try and go across to Harsha, who's getting us the latest details. 1 month and 50 lapses that have been highlighted in this particular audit report. Group Captain GP Bajpai, aviation expert, someone who has been linked to Air India in the past. Group Captain Bajpai, this DGCA audit report that I'm holding clearly makes a mention of, on multiple counts, that the airline is guilty right now, starting with the fact that there are no training manuals. Training manuals are outdated. Then this particular report basically goes on to indicate not just one but multiple issues that they have raised with regards to training of the pilots of the B77 as well as B787. Fragmented safety data management is what they say. Recurrent training gaps for B777, B787 pilots. Missing A350. Low visibility operations approval. No route assessments for CATC airports. Use of non-qualified simulators for CATC airport training. And the list goes on.
Sarvan, you are absolutely right. If I am permitted to say, these 50 points which you have told, they are the part of the audit checks carried out by DGCA. I am apprehensive. These observations are not limited to only 50. These 50 points during the DGCA audit, which could be caught by DGCA official during their audits, which runs only for a day or 2 or 3 days. But what is happening inside Air India, it seems their safety cultures have gone to the dogs. There are so many other issues also. Above all, the morale of the people, the captain, the maintenance personnel, the various other personnel. As you have rightly pointed out, the organization structure. The Air India has been taken over by Tata Sons almost 3 years back. Till date, proper organization structure is not established. The various DGCA post holders which have been approved by DGCA, are they working freely, efficiently and independently? That is to be checked in detail. There is a lot of doubt. The pilots have not been permitted to exercise their discretion to take the fuel for maximization of the profit, because the total weight of the payload, that is passenger and the cargo loads, and the sum of the fuel uplifted, that remains constant in view of the maximum takeoff weight of the aircraft and maximum landing weight of the aircraft. So pilots on 8 to 9 metropolitan cities, when they are landing, that time they are asked not to take any extra drop of the fuel. I am apprehensive that aircraft which had gone out of the runway, I don't know the full details, there might be not a fuel reserve, might not be available for the pilot to go for alternate place landing. So for that, if he has come below the minimum decision altitude, he has to land over there, irrespective of the runway conditions. In case there is a heavy downpour, the water is there, that time aircraft has to land. And that time also during monsoon season, they have to ensure weather radars are perfectly all right. They are good quality tires are there, which are having visual groups, not the bolted tire. And in case if these precautions are not observed, aircraft will face the aquaplaning, and aircraft is bound to skid from the runway, and it can go out of the runway. So all these are the minor and details and important details. Those things will not get position in this audit report, because this audit report will be limited to what has been caught by DGCA official during their audit period in 3 days. I assume and presume now it's a very good initiative on the part of MOCA that they are directly contacting the airline operators, particularly Indigo and the Air India. They should further establish their own system, like DGCA does the audit. MOCA should do and see it. There is no nexus between DGCA and airline operator. They should have their own system. If it is there, they should break down that thing.
Well, thank you very much, Group Captain Bajpai, for joining us on this broadcast as we get you this big exclusive tonight on Republic TV, as Air India has finally responded to the DGCA audit report, and they have admitted that they have received this report from the DGCA, and they are saying that they would certainly comply with the systemic gaps that have been identified by the regulator. Reviewing the report will issue a response in time, is what they say. But these are very, very serious concerns that have been raised by the DGCA. In fact, they are talking about multiple issues that have been flagged off, systemic gaps within the operations of the airline itself that has been highlighted. They are saying that they are going to be fully transparent and they are going to comply with it very soon. Well, in fact, let me just take you through a quick recap of what we know so far. In fact, this is after a proper report that was done by the DGCA. Before I move on to the other big breaking news now coming in, this is what we know from the story. Number one, there have been multiple findings. There have been critical breaches that have been identified. Pilots that were operating with after invalid simulator checks, flight duty time that had exceeded by over 2 hours, ultra-long range flights were flown with inadequate cabin crew, use of unqualified simulators for training. They've also identified major systemic gaps by saying that disjointed organization structure, improper rostering and inaccurate simulator training. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the biggest crackdown against cybercrime. In a far-reaching operation, Cambodian authorities acting on precise intelligence from India have struck a devastating blow to a sprawling digital arrest scam network. Over 3,000 suspects, including 105 Indian nationals, have been detained in a series of raids that uncovered a sophisticated web of fraud spanning more than 20 countries. From fake police uniforms to high-tech scam centers, this criminal enterprise preyed on victim fears, extorting millions through deception. Tonight, we take you inside this unprecedented crackdown, and then a Republic Live report coming in from Cambodia.
Phnom Penh, the capital city of Cambodia, is now at the center of a massive international effort to dismantle a sophisticated digital arrest scam network. Acting on alerts from India's Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs and the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, Cambodian police have raided 138 locations, detaining over 3,000 individuals, including 606 women from over 20 countries. The arrests include nationals from China, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, Bangladesh, Thailand, and Nigeria. Computers and laptops, hundreds of mobile phones, weapons, bullets, and drugs. These are some of the items seized by authorities, pointing to the racket's deep ties to organized crime. Digital arrest scams involve fraudsters posing as law enforcement or government officials, often via video calls, to intimidate victims into paying large sums to avoid fake legal consequences. These scams have defrauded countless victims globally, exploiting fear and trust. The operation, triggered by India's intelligence, highlights the growing menace of cyber fraud in Southeast Asia, where the United Nations estimates such scams generate up to $40 billion annually. Many arrested individuals were reportedly coerced into these operations, lured by fake job offers, raising concerns about human trafficking. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet's push to combat cybercrime has intensified these efforts. But reports suggest some scam operations may be shielded by influential figures. With investigations ongoing, authorities warn that more arrests could follow as they trace links to other countries. This crackdown marks a significant blow to global cybercrime, but the fight is far from over.
Well, in fact, Mias Molika is joining us live from Cambodia. Mias, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. This is one of the biggest ever crackdown that has been carried out, and it seems Cambodia happens to be the epicenter. I'm given to understand that authorities in Cambodia have actually briefed the media there. What's the modus operandi? How exactly was this being carried out? What are the links that are emerging?
Well, as you know, during the past 15 days in July, the Cambodian authorities has been arrested over 3,000 individuals that involved in online scam in Cambodia. And among all of those individuals, there are 20 nationalities from different Asia Pacific, which is about 1,000 Chinese, 600 Vietnamese, and also 300 Indonesia. And those also has been found has 105 Indians and 100 Bangladesh. And all of those crackdowns has been found in the villas and also the in different provinces like Phoi Thai, Sensational, and also in Phnom Penh as well. And during the operation, the authority has seized laptop computers, and they also found the fake Chinese police uniform and also fake Indian uniform in order to scam people online. And after that, the Indian government also tried to contact the Cambodian authority in order to deport 105 Indians that have been detained in Cambodia.
Mias, just one quick question before I let you go. It turns out that several Indians have also been arrested. Any details that you are picking up? What was the role of these Indians in this particular digital racket that was being carried out?
So, as you know, during the operation, the journalists really cannot go on site, but they post the information on their individual, like official Facebook page and also Telegram channels about those details information. But at the time, we also see that the Cambodian government try to strengthen more safety and regulations for different nationality that try to enter Cambodia, whether they are try to enter for the online fraud, is it legally entering or not?
Well, thank you. Right. Well, thank you very much, Mias, reporting live from Cambodia, the only Indian news network to get that live report coming in from Cambodia, the biggest ever crackdown that we're looking at on digital arrest. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. Coming up, trending with my colleague Akanksha.